welcome back to our channel on this beautiful day. We are thrilled to bring you the latest, most intense deep dive into the emotional epicenter of Genoa City. Today, we are unpacking a storyline that threatens to tear a beloved family apart, pushing characters to the absolute brink of their sanity and morality. Let us dive straight into the heart-stopping drama unfolding right now. The atmosphere in Genoa City has reached a boiling point of unprecedented tension, centering entirely on the tragic and agonizing medical crisis surrounding Malcolm Winters. As Malcolm lies in a hospital bed, his life slowly draining away due to severe aplastic anemia, the one man who holds the biological key to his survival is locked behind cold steel bars. Kane Ashby, wrongfully arrested and framed by the malicious artificial intelligence machinations of Victor Newman, is trapped in a legal nightmare that has indefinitely delayed his life-saving bone marrow transplant. This catastrophic intersection of corporate warfare and medical emergency has plunged the Winters family into a state of absolute despair. At the center of this emotional maelstrom stands Lily Winters, a woman whose entire world is collapsing as she watches the judicial system fail her dying father. Her desperation is palpable, transforming her from a grounded corporate executive into a fiercely protective daughter, willing to cross any moral or legal boundary to ensure her father's survival. The ticking clock of Malcolm's failing health serves as a relentless, agonizing drumbeat that dictates every desperate thought and reckless impulse currently flooding Lily's mind. Watching this tragedy unfold with a toxic mixture of paralyzing anxiety and bitter vindication is Devin Winters. Devin's psychological state has become a labyrinth of insecurity and paranoia, heavily exacerbated by his recent, vicious courtroom battles and the total collapse of his marriage. Instead of offering unwavering support to his sister during this terrifying medical crisis, Devin is consumed by his historical, deep-seated hatred for Kane Ashby. He views Kane not as a noble savior offering his bone marrow, but as a manipulative opportunist exploiting Malcolm's illness to worm his way back into Lily's heart. Devin's anxiety is not entirely born of malice. It is deeply rooted in a genuine, albeit suffocating, desire to protect his sister from further heartbreak. However, his protective instincts have mutated into a crippling paranoia. He is terrified of Lily's increasingly reckless behavior, fearing that her blinding desperation to save Malcolm will lead her down a path of total destruction. Devin watches Lily's every move with a hawk-like intensity, his mind spinning worst-case scenarios where her devotion to Kane results in irreversible collateral damage for the entire Winters family. Lily's mental state has shifted into a dangerous realm of pure, unadulterated survival instinct. The recent, cold-hearted denial by a judge to grant Kane an ankle monitor or a police escort to travel to New York for the transplant has shattered Lily's faith in the legal system. Stripped of all conventional options, Lily is now contemplating the unthinkable, orchestrating a full-blown prison break to smuggle Kane out of jail and transport him to New York herself. This is not a calculated corporate maneuver. It is the raw, visceral desperation of a daughter who refuses to let her father die as collateral damage in Victor Newman's cruel vendetta. Lily is meticulously, albeit recklessly, plotting a jailbreak, willing to risk her own freedom, her reputation, and her future to ensure Kane's bone marrow reaches Malcolm in time. Her internal conflict is practically non-existent. The moral ambiguity of breaking the law pales in comparison to the unbearable agony of losing her father. Lily is operating on pure adrenaline and profound love, entirely blind to the catastrophic legal consequences that await her if this daring, highly illegal scheme fails. This precise, reckless determination is what fuels Devin's paralyzing insecurity. Devin is acutely aware that if Lily successfully, or even unsuccessfully, helps Kane Ashby break out of a police holding facility, she will instantly become an accessory to a major felony. The legal nightmare that would ensue is unfathomable. Lily would face severe federal charges, potential imprisonment, and the total loss of her children and her standing in the corporate world. Devin's anxiety is a suffocating blanket over his judgment, causing him to constantly interrogate Lily, question her motives. and attempt to derail any plan she might be forming to secure Kane's freedom outside the bounds of the law. Devon is terrified that Lily's blinding love for Malcolm is being weaponized by Kane's mere presence. He believes that Kane is a toxic force, a black hole that will inevitably drag Lily into a legal abyss from which she will never return. This fear is driving a massive, potentially irreparable wedge between the siblings, as Devon's attempts to control Lily only push her further into isolation and secrecy. Behind bars, Kane Ashby is enduring his own psychological torment. He is a man wrongfully accused, stripped of his dignity and his freedom by a fabricated digital lie, but his primary agony is not for himself. Kane's entire focus is on the promise he made to Lily regarding the mission to save Malcolm's life. The physical confinement of his jail cell is nothing compared to the emotional prison of knowing his bone marrow is the only cure for a dying man, and he is powerless to deliver it. Kane is desperate to prove his worth, not just to the legal system, but to Lily. He understands the monumental risk Lily is contemplating by trying to free him, and while a part of him wants to protect her from the legal fallout, another part of him knows that Malcolm's survival supersedes all other concerns. Kane's nobility in this moment, his absolute willingness to subject himself to further legal jeopardy if it means saving Malcolm, is a stark contrast to the manipulative opportunist Devon paints him out to be. To truly understand the explosive dynamic between Devon, Lily, and Kane, one must look at the deeply fractured history they share. Devon and Kane have spent years locked in a bitter cycle of mistrust and betrayal. Devon has never fully forgiven Kane for his past transgressions against Lily, viewing every action Kane takes through a lens of extreme suspicion. This historical animosity is currently poisoning Devon's ability to see the reality of the medical crisis. Even as Kane literally offers pieces of his own body to save their father, Devon searches for a hidden agenda. Devon's hypocrisy is glaring. He demands absolute loyalty and understanding for his own complex, often destructive choices, yet he refuses to extend a fraction of that grace to Kane. This deeply entrenched resentment prevents Devon from recognizing the genuine sacrifice Kane is willing to make, and it blinds him to the profound emotional toll this crisis is taking on his sister. Amidst the suffocating atmosphere of legal peril, familial betrayal, and medical urgency, a profound and unexpected romantic resurgence is blossoming between Lily and Kane. The shared trauma of Malcolm's illness and the staggering injustice of Kane's arrest have stripped away years of accumulated resentment and misunderstanding between the former spouses. Lily is seeing Kane not as the man who broke her heart in the past, but as the steadfast, selfless savior who is willing to risk everything for her family. Kane's unwavering devotion to Lily's cause is acting as a powerful emotional magnet, drawing her back into his orbit. The walls Lily had built to protect herself from Kane are crumbling under the weight of his undeniable loyalty. This crisis has catalyzed a deep, soulful reconnection, proving that the foundation of their historic love was never truly destroyed, only buried beneath the rubble of past mistakes. The emotional intimacy building between Lily and Kane is palpable, crackling with an intensity that defies their grim circumstances. Every stolen glance through the reinforced glass of the visitation room, every whispered vow to defeat Victor's traps, serves to strengthen their bond. Lily is continuously surprised by the depth of Kane's resilience and the purity of his intentions. He asks for nothing in return for his sacrifice, a stark contrast to the transactional nature of the corporate world they usually inhabit. This selflessness is intoxicating to Lily, reigniting a fierce, passionate love that she thought had been extinguished forever. The danger surrounding them acts as an accelerant to their feelings, pushing them toward a profound emotional and physical culmination. The shared adrenaline of plotting a jailbreak and fighting a corrupt system is weaving their souls back together in a way that feels dangerously permanent. The trajectory of this reignited passion points inevitably toward a deeply intimate encounter. The sheer emotional exhaustion of battling the legal system, combined with the terrifying reality of Malcolm's mortality, is driving Lily to seek solace and strength in the one place she feels truly understood. Whether it manifests as a desperate, breathless kiss in the shadows of a prison corridor during a daring escape attempt or a profound, soul-bearing bedroom encounter once Kane is momentarily free, the physical culmination of their love seems unavoidable. This anticipated intimacy is not merely a romantic trope. It is a vital psychological release for two people pushed to the absolute edge of human endurance. It represents a defiant assertion of life and love in the face of Victor Newman's attempts to destroy them, a powerful testament to the enduring strength of their connection. Ironically, Devon's relentless anxiety and overbearing attempts to control Lily's actions may serve as the very catalyst that pushes her completely into Kane's embrace. Devon's constant barrage of doubt, his harsh interrogations, and his utter lack of empathy for Kane's sacrifice are deeply alienating Lily. She feels suffocated by Devon's paranoia and misunderstood by the brother who is supposed to be her greatest ally. In stark contrast, Kane offers unwavering support, absolute trust, and a shared commitment to saving Malcolm. The more Devon tries to tear them apart with his toxic warnings of legal doom, the more Lily realizes that Kane is the only person who truly comprehends the depth of her desperation. Devon's interference is inadvertently cementing the bond he is so desperate to destroy, proving that love forged in the fires of adversity is often unbreakable. The impending collision between Lily's reckless devotion and Devon's paralyzing fear presents a fascinating and agonizing ethical dilemma. Is Lily justified in breaking the law, in orchestrating a dangerous jailbreak, to save the life of her dying father? Does the moral imperative of preserving life supersede the rigid dictates of a corrupted legal system? Conversely, is Devon justified in his attempts to stop her? Is his suffocating control a necessary evil to prevent his sister from throwing her life away on a desperate, highly illegal gamble? These questions haunt the narrative, creating a tense, morally ambiguous atmosphere where there are no easy answers. Every character is operating from a place of profound trauma and desperate love, making their destructive choices both terrifying and deeply understandable. The line between heroism and criminality has been completely blurred by the sheer weight of the emotional stakes. As a close observer of this tragic family saga, it is impossible not to feel a profound, aching sorrow for the Winters family as they navigate this impossible nightmare. There is a raw, visceral pain in watching a sister willing to sacrifice her own freedom to save a father, while her brother, blinded by past grievances and paralyzing fear, actively works against her. It breaks my heart to see Lily driven to such dangerous extremes, forced to contemplate a life-altering felony because the justice system has been so thoroughly corrupted by artificial intelligence schemes. The tragedy is amplified by Devon's inability to see past his own bitterness. His insecurity is tearing the family apart at the exact moment they need to be united. It is a devastating portrait of how unhealed trauma and historical hatred can poison the mind, turning a brother's protective instincts into a toxic, alienating force that destroys the very bonds he is trying to preserve. Meanwhile, the ticking clock in New York grows louder and more unforgiving with every passing hour. Malcolm Winters lies in a sterile hospital room, his body failing, his survival hinging entirely on a bone marrow transplant that is currently locked behind bars in Genoa City. The urgency of this medical reality cannot be overstated. Every second Kane remains wrongfully imprisoned is a second closer to Malcolm's demise. This relentless tempo pressure is the engine driving Lily's reckless intentions. She does not have the luxury of waiting for Amanda Sinclair to slowly dismantle Victor's fabricated evidence in a court of law. She needs a miracle now, and if the legal system will not provide one, she is fully prepared to manufacture her own through sheer force of will and criminal defiance. The tension is suffocating, a taut wire ready to snap under the unbearable weight of impending grief. The stage is impeccably set for a final, explosive confrontation between Devon's protective anxiety and Lily's unstoppable determination. Devon is acutely aware that Lily is slipping from his grasp, moving further into a dangerous alliance with Kane that he cannot control. He is preparing to use every weapon in his emotional arsenal to stop her, from guilt trips about her children to terrifying predictions of federal prison. But Lily has crossed the psychological Rubicon. Her love for Malcolm and her reignited passion for Kane have armored her against Devon's manipulations. She is no longer the compliant sister. She is a fierce, desperate warrior fighting for the survival of the men she loves. The impending clash between these two siblings will not just determine Kane's fate or Malcolm's survival. It will fundamentally and permanently alter the landscape of the Winters family. As the shadows lengthen over Genoa City and the cold reality of Malcolm's fading heartbeat echoes in the silence, one question eclipses all others. Will Lily Winters actually execute a daring, highly illegal prison break to save the man who holds the key to her father's life? Or will Devon's paralyzing anxiety and toxic interference succeed in chaining her to the ground? The lines of morality have been shattered, the legal system has been weaponized, and a reignited romance is blooming in the darkest of corners. The ultimate test of love, loyalty, and the lengths one will go to for a family is upon us, promising a catastrophic fallout that will leave no one unscathed.